about we start with a light?
Well, you got a name, miss?
Elizabeth. You can call me Elizabeth.
You know, miss, smoke is not good for your health. Not that I'm your dad from another dimension or anything. Hi there, everybody. On today's show, we're going to be reviewing the first episodical DLC for Bioshock Infinite, Burial at Sea. Actually, today's show is the very first show we'll be doing for GameSkinny.com. My name is Ryan. You might have seen some of my reviews on the site. I'll put little images on this video, so you should be seeing my review of Batman Arkham Origins, where I said the game was pretty much like Batman on Laundry Day, because, face it, that's what it is. And my review for Lego Marvel Superheroes, which is actually, I think, the best Lego game out there. It's not just for kids, it's not just for comic book fans either. It's actually a pretty fun game, so I suggest giving it a try. If you can get a demo at least, see if you like it. I certainly did.
Is that right?
Bioshock, or Bioshock Infinite to be exact. Everybody's early pick for Game of the Year this year. I'm not sure if at the end of the year now, with all the other titles that have been released, everybody still feels that way. We'll see soon enough. So, a lot of spoilers for Infinite in this review. Obviously, this is DLC for Infinite, so in order to play this, you're going to have Infinite already. So, if you haven't played through it yet, go play it now. Turn off this review. Well, I'll wait for you while you go play Infinite. Okay, that one guy is gone. Okay, let's start with the elephant in the room. That elephant being how many people played Bioshock Infinite and thought Elizabeth was supposed to be your main love interest. So that definitely threw me for a loop. I didn't see that coming. From all the trailers and everything, sort of assumed her role would be somewhat different in Bioshock Infinite. So it's kind of interesting in Burial at Sea. This is sort of an alternate dimension or timeline. So this is an older version of Elizabeth, and they've kind of sexualized the character.
Isn't it lovely?
Oh. Yes.
Oh, music does something to me. Especially something in this
Yes.
way. It's almost primal, isn't it? Part of us that exists before thought, before logic, purely sensual.
The finest music touches us in places.
Daddy's little girl's grown up. That's for sure. Burial at Sea takes place in Rapture, the setting from the original Bioshock. However, it feels like somewhere in between Columbia and Rapture, with a feeling of nostalgia, but also new discovery at the same time. The settings and art design are absolutely amazing. You'll be using tools from Infinite, such as the Skyhook, but you'll be using them against familiar old foes like the Splicers. Also returning from Infinite is equipable gear, which will give your character various random buffs. However, the elemental ammo types from the original Bioshock are still nowhere to be seen. By far, one of the coolest additions to Burial at Sea is the radar range gun, which I'll just let speak for itself. So earlier this year, before I was on GameSkinny, I did write a review for the original Infinite, and I think I gave the game a 7. The main letdown to me was the lack of a big daddy moment is the way I put it in my review. The thing that was so amazing about the original Bioshock is that just like creaking whale sound and the thud, thud, thud. I'll overlay that sound effect onto this video, and it's just one of those very memorable things from gaming. The first time I fought a Big Daddy, it was an amazing experience for me. Something that very few first-person shooters or really any game had done at that time. There were other sort of menacing bosses, maybe in like Resident Evil or whatever, but just on this scale and that fidelity, it was just such an amazing experience, and that's why Infinite let me down. I mean, don't get me wrong, you still had Songbird, but Songbird just didn't have that intimidation. I guess what you sort of learned early on in Infinite was every time you encountered Songbird, it was basically going to be a scripted event. You know, you don't, a Big Daddy, you knew you were going to fight a Big Daddy because you're walking along, doo-doo-doo-doo-doo, and all of a sudden he's like, oh wow, they're giving me a lot of ammo and plasmids, like something big is about to happen. And so that's why Burial at Sea is so fantastic, because you will have that moment in Burial at Sea where it's very sparse ammo throughout most of the DLC, and then also you're like, wow, they're giving me like every type of ammo and every gun, something's about to happen. And so yes, I'm sure by now everybody knows that there is a Big Daddy in Burial at Sea, so that made me extremely happy. Fighting the Big Daddy is just as good as it was in the original Bioshock. And especially with the addition of the Skyhook now, it adds a whole new dynamic to it. And don't think it's going to make it any easier, because that Big Daddy will just fire that claw right at you, or his drill claw hook robot punch, and suck you right in. It's an amazing experience. Definitely the highlight of the DLC for me.
There's one particular issue I have with next-gen graphics, and that's the uncanny valley problem. You have these hyper-realistic looking characters, but their eyes are just totally dead. So what I love about Bioshock Infinite is they generally stepped away from that style and found this sort of butter zone where the characters look believable, but they also have a very nice range of expressions and emotion.
Keep in mind, this is episode 1 of a 2-part DLC, so it is on the short side. If you just totally breeze through it and do all the objectives without really stopping to smell the roses of Rapture, you'll be done with it in probably under 2 hours. So it's definitely a game that's meant to be taken slow and enjoyed, and just see all the little touches that the team at Irrational's added to this game.
Dance, move!
But what's really funny is there's a lot of little winks and nods to Infinite as well. So, and it does tie in to the main storyline of Infinite. Not gonna spoil any of the story for you, but the DLC actually does have a very cliffhanger ending to it. It was one of those things where I actually gasped out loud. It was like, that just happened. So definitely play it through to the end. I think you'll really be surprised, and I'll be very interested to see where they go with the story in part 2, considering the way that they ended it. So there you go. That was my first video review ever. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I am currently playing another game already that happens to be a PlayStation 4 launch title that I am planning on doing a review for, so hopefully if you guys like this, you'll tune in for my next video. So until then, keep on playing.
I shudder to think what greater price he might care to extract.
Fitzpatrick! Beauty and pain. they can be no more separated than birth and blood.